What is the principle on that?
Well, okay, there's a few. So the first one is, who here, show of hands, who here believes in gender equality?
As in, like, does it exist or do we want it?
Who? Both, I guess? Like,
But those are two different questions, though.
Yeah, they're very different.
as a concept, do you believe in gender equality?
I believe there should be gender equality, yes.
It depends, right? Because there's a lot of like chivalry like associated with that. So I think he means like true gender equality in every single way,
Yeah,
right?
in every
Then no,
facet.
like I wouldn't want
Yeah.
that. Like I still like some of the traditional facets, and I like feeling good, and I like feeling cared for whenever I have a partner. So total gender equality, like
Mhm.
completely, I wouldn't want that.
But here's the thing, you can't, equality is not and speaking of dinners, equality, no pun intended, equality is not a buffet where you get to pick and choose the equality you want and the equality you don't want. You either get equality across the board or none at all.
Wait, so you're saying like our options are total equality or back to like we can't vote?
I feel like that's
No,
very
no, no.
black and
That's
white
not what
thinking.
that's not what I'm saying. Well, actually, the way it plays out in today's modern dating marketplace, women actually do have men adhering to their traditional gender roles, but women are not adhering to their traditional gender roles. So actually, yes, you guys do, as it currently stands, you do have the best of both worlds. But I'm saying that yes, it ought to be equality across the board. So when someone breaks into our house, you best be getting the gun.
Or like cockroaches?
We're
Like I
both
have to
getting
kill
the
them? I
guns.
have to kill the cockroaches?
Yeah, you have to kill the
No.
you have to kill the spiders. No,
No.
I'm kidding. No, I'll do that shit. I'll kill the. I mean,
Guys have to wear thongs.
fuck that.
And then they have to carry children using science. So what do you guys have?
No.
Like,
So wait, is the
You
argument
guys
for
have
like...
weird
The- no, but
Men
okay. The
should
main,
get their tubes tied.
the main thing,
Or
the
get
main
their
thing. I'm
dick
being,
vasectomy? Get a vasectomy, yeah.
I'm being a bit hyperbolic here, but the main thing it comes down to is the financial component of relationships. If you want equality, we're going to be financially equal in this
So
relationship.
does that include the wage gap, for example?
I mean,
like,
that's
all
been
across the
debunked. There's no
board?
wage gap.
Yeah, the wage
Can you
gap
explain
is
how it was
not-
debunked?
That's well, you've asserted something exists, so you need to present evidence for its existence.
You just asserted that it was debunked, so I'm asking you, how was it debunked?
If you're asserting there's an existence of something, it is your duty to argue why it exists. It's not my job to prove that it does not exist.
I would argue that you made a lot of postulations earlier and you didn't cite your sources.
Well, I'm sorry that I didn't.
But
I
you're asking
didn't.
us to cite our sources.
I didn't pull up the studies and like.
Of course, like, we're not going to pull up the studies either.
You're the one with a laptop. You
I
can
got.
pull it
Hold
up.
on.
We were not on our phones!
You can put that up on OBS.
Look, I mean, you've asserted that the
Girls,
wage.
like, the wage gap isn't
Sorry, I
real.
didn't find a
Yeah, the wa-
specific source for the wage gap, which has
No,
been
but you've-
discussed
you've-
over and over again.
but
in
you've
nearly every
asserted-
piece of mainstream media. Apologies.
You've asserted that it exists. The duty is on you to prove it, not me to disprove it. Okay, that which is asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence.
This is riveting.
Dang.
Thank you.
It's
If
very
we had
riveting.
Our phones and you didn't tell us to put it away, maybe we could have our sources cited. I mean, I think that the fact that you're trying to refute our argument because and asking us to cite our sources
I'm not.
when
No,
we're
no, no,
not
no.
like
You don't
physically
need
able
to give me your
cite-
sources, but you need to articulate what is the wage gap.
What is the wage gap?
What is it?
It's when two people who, a man and a woman, not all the time, but a lot of the time, are doing the same exact job and they're not being paid very well.
That's
women
that's
are making,
illegal.
Women are
Yeah.
making less money than men on average, and even if it's illegal, it's still happening. And there's also a lot of factors to this. For example, women do a lot of domestic and care work that is unpaid, which adds to that.
If your
That's the
husband,
assertion.
if you're a stay-at-home mom, and your husband is out working, providing for the family, it's not really like it's not unpaid labor because your husband's out there working, providing for the family, the house, the food.
Obviously, like,
It's not-
we're outliers, so I don't know how else to describe it.
I mean, there is a gap between like how much money men make and how much money women make, but
It's not
what-
just the same jobs either. It's also that men are more likely to get higher paying jobs than women, and it's not because women are incompetent.
Can I deflect the conversation quickly? What are the inequalities for male? I would love to hear.
Well, you're changing gears pretty quick. I would like to stay on the wage gap
I'm
thing.
curious about what Reina is asking, actually.
Same.
we
Yes, do tell.
well, we should stick on the
the
wage.
draft?
I'd be happy to get to that, but I would like to, before shifting on to another topic, we could talk about the wage gap for a little bit. So, what is the numerical? Do you know what the number is for the wage gap? Like, it's
I don't
often like you
remember.
hear 80.
It was like
80 cents
70%,
or
but my
73
data
cents.
is very old. Like, this was the
last time I saw-
70%
right,
was
the last
like
time I saw a source for this was
2000.
Yeah, the
2013
study
probably.
the study they pulled that from literally took just average working women and their pay versus or that the median income.
It took all the men working in the U.S. and all the women working in the U.S. and compared it like that. They didn't take into consideration hours worked, part-time or full-time, the kind of job that they're doing. There's so many factors when analyzing something like this.
I don't think that's fair. I think it should be more. If there was a study that showed exact salary on the same exact profession, I think that'd be fine. Because there are professions where women dominate and male don't dominate. And
Yeah, well, I mean, there's just differences in the career paths that both men and women go to. But when you
Absolutely.
control for all the factors that you can control for, the gap shrinks to like it's 1 cent difference.
for every single job in the whole wide world,
There's been
That's
there's
right.
been studies done on it,
It's
and they
been
found
debunked.
there's I think it was 19 different factors that predict a person's income, and discrimination is a small percentage, but it is.
Well, what are these other factors?
I mean, like things women like to do. Like, why would like most women typically aren't going to want to work 80 hours a week, have no personal life, and dedicate 30 years to it, like working as like a CEO. Like
I think-
most women just won't want to do that.
I think the
typically.
wage gap that we're talking about is being paid less for the same job. I don't think it's
That's illegal, and if that's happening, then that's what
of
you
course,
got to
and then,
take.
like it would be
take action.
much
yeah.
nicer if there was a culture where we are more transparent with our salary. That's fine, but no one's going to admit they're paying a lot more and admit that they're doing a crime, right? That
I
would
mean, but
be
honestly, like,
self-incriminating.
saying what the same work is hard, because like
Of course.
yeah, because like you can say you have the same job, but it's more difficult to say
So-
like if they're doing the same
Yeah, good
amount
point.
of work or not.
My
Yeah.
point is that these studies are inconclusive and they're not great studies because you don't actually look at the root of the problem. The wage gap is really just defined as different salaries, different salaries on the same exact job.
I know
like,
there's
glass ceiling
there's a
for
recent
women.
study that where Google thought that this might be happening, so they audited all their employee pay, and they had to end up paying men like millions of dollars.
Yeah,
But it's
Google
just not
Google
that
was
simple.
overpaying women,
For the same
and
job.
actually what the recent data shows is that single, unmarried, childless women actually out-earn their male counterparts. It's like 117%, something. Or sorry, it's I don't know the exact number, but men and women end up making different choices. But if you look at childless, never married women, they out-earn their male counterparts. It's not a difference between men and women. It's a difference between what is it? It's a difference between fathers and mothers.
Wait, are we
I
just
think
saying
we can
kids are
still. I think we
distraction?
can still call that a wage gap, though. We're not accounting for things like how
Oh, yeah,
women
the-
are expected
the
societally
the
to
issue
be
I have
married.
with the wage gap is it comes from a place of assuming that it's because men are sexist that there is a wage gap, and that's just false.
I don't
Yeah.
think that that's
I don't-
necessarily true because that's just oversimplifying the issue.
I mean, but
fact
the issue is
that-
oversimplified, though. A lot of girls are out here
for
protesting,
example,
like
STEM. Okay,
like
STEM is a field where you can earn a lot of money. There's not as many women in STEM
girls don't wanna
as
do
there are
that.
men.
It's
Hold on,
boring.
first
Or
of
is it
all,
because women are not
I
socialized
know, but
to do it?
how many girls are with you in your STEM classes, though? Not a lot.
Probably like a third.
But
I'd
why do
say.
you think that
in
is?
in
Like-
societies that are the most equal, if you look at Sweden, you look at Norway, you look at Denmark, these are societies that have gone above and beyond to try to create equality in their societies. you actually start to see a greater divergence in terms of men going in a certain direction and women going a certain direction. When you give people the most amount of equality, there are differences.
And
Shocker.
freedom to choose what they want.
There's differences in what people choose to pursue. So,
We must consider.
but just on the STEM thing really quick is like, yeah, men generally speaking, have a greater interest in those sort of fields.
But do
And-
you think that's just inherent? I mean, where does
Yes.
that come
Yeah.
from? Of
I
course,
think-
it's
I think it's
cultural and
inherent.
social.
No,
Social
because
social.
that's what the Scandinavian countries thought, is if we can apply enough social pressure to men and women to like kind of start doing different things, then we should see a trend towards more leveling of like STEM and maybe like nursing.
agree.
But
Yeah.
but what you see is more girls are choosing the people jobs and more guys are choosing the STEM jobs. So it's going reverse. So it's not societal. Like I believe it's more instinctual.
I
And also
disagree.
the whole STEM thing, like women are outnumbering men in biological sciences, so and that's within the STEM field. So
And isn't biological sciences generally paid less than like the more techie parts of STEM?
well, I mean, you can be a doctor if you've studied. Most people who are pre-med are
Just
study bio.
opportunities wise.
Well, okay, let me ask you guys a question. So the WNBA earns far less than the NBA. Do you think that's justified or unjustified?
I think that's justified. That's a hot take. I think it is justified just because they have a lot more viewers. They're going to bring in a lot more money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll go around the. What do you think? WNBA. Here, I got you. Should the WNBA should they be compensated the same as NBA players? They're not. Let me just. They're not. But do you think they should?
Yes, I feel like they should.
Okay.
And like WNBA women in like what is it again?
NBA
Basketball?
basketball.
Basketball. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that thing.
Sorry, I don't watch a lot of sports.
It's all good.
But yeah, they should because they're playing like the same profession.
Okay, and
You
you
know?
guys, would you agree with like soccer too? That's been a conversation that the women's soccer team supposedly doesn't make as much as the men's soccer team. Let's stick to the WNBA because that's a different one. But did you answer that?
If the reason why women are being paid less is because there's less viewers, then just paying them more doesn't actually solve the problem. The problem is, why is it that people are more interested in watching men's sports than women's sports? And I feel like the answer goes back to sexism, which is a cultural construct.
No.
People just want
Oh
to
my
see
God,
the
y'all.
absolute best at like people do a certain like skill.
Hold
Like,
on.
It's just more entertaining to see the best of the best.
Eric, can you pull up? There's an infographic in the podcast folder. It's called Sports Fans. Just pull that up because it's related. So we'll go around the table. We'll continue. WNBA, should they be paid as much as their male counterparts in the NBA?
Okay, so kind of like going with what Tomiya said, like, okay, if it's viewership but they're not getting as much as guys, why is that? Is it because the guys are more entertaining? If that's the case, then like, okay, they're bringing
Closer into the mic.
They're bringing in more fans. They're bringing in more viewerships. If it's the guys, they should get paid more. If the girls aren't getting the viewership, it makes sense to me that they don't get paid equally.
I think it's justified. I think the NBA is a far greater like organization than the WNBA. A lot more people. I personally don't watch WNBA, but I'll catch a few NBA games. So I feel like the men deserves more in that aspect.
Okay. What about you?
I think it is justified because there's going to be disparities in everything. They enjoy watching men play sports more, just like they enjoy watching us make porn more. So, yeah.
Fair.
That's a good one.
Fair.
Yeah, I think it's fair as well. I mean, like even in the way past, like women wasn't even allowed to like join Olympics until it was allowed to. I mean, it was just like an old time thing. And then, yeah, I mean, like who gets the most money in OF? The hottest people. They get more viewership. They get more money. Like, yeah.
Okay. Eric, can you pull up the infographic? All right, so this is the share of sports fans in the United States as of May 2022 by gender. So on the left you have the regular blue, that's an avid fan, dark blue, casual fan, gray, not a fan at all. On the left you have male, on the right you have female. So there's a much higher proportion of men who are avid fans, whereas on females, they're just not a fan at all of sports. So nothing is preventing women from consuming the WNBA. Y'all could, but here, okay. Besides Brittany Griner, who we should actually talk about momentarily, because there's actually some news on Brittany Griner
Yeah, big
as of today. Fucking ridiculous. I was meaning to talk about that. Name one WNBA player besides Brittany Griner. No?
I'm not into sports.
Anything?
Yeah, I'm not a sports fan.
Well, okay.
Not a sports fan. We could talk about gaming.
I'm into esports.
Yeah.
No WNBA players for me.
Who's Brittany?
Okay. Can you guys name any male NBA players?
No.
Come on.
No, I'm.
Kobe? Bryant?
Yeah.
Michael
that
Jordan.
does ring
Michael
a,
Jordan?
Does ring a bell. Yeah, but that's I'm from not Space into Jams. sports.
Okay. All right. I'm sure you all
LeBron
could.
James Harden, Michael Vick, Reggie
LeBron
Bush.
James.
Wait,
Steph
Michael
Curry.
Vick.
I think that's a
Yeah, that's
football
NFL.
player. But
Yeah.
anyway.
I mean, it's a
It's
sport.
short king.
Sports in general,
Yeah.
unless you were talking about specifically basketball players.
But okay, so you brought up sports, right? What? So what?
I don't think I brought up sports.
Who?
I brought up the wage gap
And
No,
you
but-
brought up
and
sports.
STEM.
You brought
Yeah,
up
you brought up
sports,
sports.
Brian.
No, somebody brought up.
You
No,
skipped
that
it.
was
You
weird.
brought up like, is it fair for women to get paid less? And then
Oh, in
we
the
went around.
WNBA. Okay.
And then you said, yeah.
So some of you said it's kind of unjustified. Tell you what. And here's the crazy thing: the NBA actually, what's the term? There's a term for it. They financially, chat. Can you help me out? Bolster.
They basically pay for the WNBA to survive.
There's a term for it. It's not coming.
Subsidizing?
Subsidized. Thank you.
Subsidized,
Yeah, the NBA subsidizes the WNBA, so they lose money. The WNBA. So, tell you what. Let's do this. I think you guys, all of you guys are OnlyFans creators. I have OnlyFans.com/whatever. I'm a dude. Dudes don't really make a lot of money on OnlyFans. Are you guys down to subsidize?
That's actually not necessarily true. I know a lot of male creators that make just as much as most of us girls. Most of their
There's-
fans are men.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
I see
Yeah.
one
Some.
guy who's like with a 0.01%.
Yeah, literally.
So it's like
Probably a lot fewer.
Okay,
I think
but-
we've all
Who would eat
seen
it?
him.
Good
We've
job,
all
names.
seen his bits and pieces on TikTok.
okay, but.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
But there are way more women on OnlyFans than there are men.
Okay.
You didn't answer
And
the
men
question.
don't
though.
make.
Would you subsidize?
Yeah, will you subsidize
What-
the whatever OnlyFans? I'm a male. I'm on OnlyFans.
I'm really curious to see what the ratios are for people who are on OnlyFans and like their percentages as well. Like there is like a lot less men, right?
I would assume men earn more, or sorry, excuse me, men earn less.
Yeah.
Men earn less on OnlyFans, and there's less of them too.
Yeah. So, but racial, it's not impossible that racial, proportionally, they're doing worse than us.
Oh, you're saying because there's a less of it,
Yeah.
less men that, but women
I mean,
women
And of
don't really
course-
consume porn like that.
I have to
Say
it's
that to my
definitely-
search history.
It's definitely because women are more attractive and like people find women hotter in porn. I definitely agree that men make way less on average.
Like they maybe from gay, like if their audience is men, maybe they're making. I would assume most men who are doing OnlyFans, imagine most of their fans are other men. I would assume.
No, that's true. I mean, it's either most of their fans are gay men or most of their fans are straight men that want to see a lot of different women in
Okay.
a lot of different sex tapes.
Yeah.
So actually a lot of these like straight male OnlyFans creators that are making a lot of money, in a way, they're making a lot of money because they're working with already successful OnlyFans girls who are already making a lot of money,
Yeah.
who are already famous.
Or they're doing the gay stuff.
Yeah.
The gay stuff, you know. So